Hey guys, welcome to the HVAC Diaries. Today is Friday, October 20th, and this is my weekly HVAC vlog brought to you by New Calgon. Well, I was hoping for a much busier, more exciting week this week for you. Unfortunately, that wasn't the case. We had a couple of cancellations and stuff this week, so it's been kind of slow. But it's still been a really good week, and I've got some adventures to tell you, and I've got some cool, personal brand ambassador stuff to tell you. So, where to begin? One of our jobs this week was at a place that manufactures grocery shelf tags. So you know at the grocery store, they've got those shelves with the tags on those shelf things. I don't know how to explain it. Anyway, they make all those tags, and they make regular ones just with pricing and fancy ones. Anyway, that's beside the point. They've got this glass door cooler in their staff room, just like with all of their staff lunches and stuff like that. And it was making a crazy noise, so they called us in to take a look at it. When we opened it up, it was definitely making a noise right away. And this is a fridge that we haven't really worked on before, so we thought that we had to take the back panel off in order to access the evaporator fan, because we figured the evaporator fan was on its way out, dying or whatever. So we started taking it apart, and we had to pull out everything from the fridge. But it turns out we didn't have to unpack it at all. It was such a waste of time and effort and energy. Anyway, so we pulled the unit out from the bottom, and it's like one of these package type units. It's all in one, everything's in the bottom. You've got the compressor, the condenser, and the evaporator and fans all in the bottom of the fridge. So we repacked the fridge. When we pulled it out, there was a bit of a leak in the back, so Trevor's like, hey, can you just deal with that leak quickly? So I grabbed 3 little paper towels and I put it on the leak, and then he pulls a little bit more, and the whole thing is just like a flood of water onto the ground. My little 3 paper towels, I was like, aw, cute. There was such a flood. So what happened actually was there's a clog in the condensate drain. So in the back, there's a big trough, like a pan, that collects, and then there's a little opening that goes into this package unit I was telling you about, where there's a pan for evaporation. So the condensate will flow into that pan and then evaporate. But the little thing was clogged, so we had such a big flood. Luckily, they gave us a shop vac to clean up the big puddle that we made, but we also used our little tiny shop vac to get rid of all the really slimy, gross water in that pan in the back. And then Trevor used a screwdriver, it's just a little piece of tubing kind of thing. So he was just shoving a screwdriver in there, and all this stuff came out. It's like snotty, slimy stuff. And then the drain worked great. So the noise that we were hearing was the fan blade actually hitting the water inside that pan. So every time the blade turned, it would ding, 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 ding on the water. It made quite a big noise. Anyway, so that was that little job. We were also called to the cooling tower that we service. It's actually in the same building as all of those water source heat pumps that we've been replacing lately. So they had an emergency call, and that is one of the calls that we drop everything else for. If we get a call from them, we run. Same as the meat supplier. If they call us, we drop everything and we run to them. However, when we got there, it seemed to be working again. The cooling tower was doing what it had to do. And so we suspect that somebody was working on one of those floors that's being renovated. The 3rd floor and the 5th floor are undergoing a massive renovation that's actually kind of taking months. But so we think that somebody drained a line somewhere to change something or fix something or whatever, and they didn't realize that they'd actually drained that line, and so the cooling tower alarmed and was freaking out. But it's kind of rectified itself by the time we got there, which is interesting. We did open her up though, and it was really cool. I put my camera inside so you can kind of see right inside the cooling tower. But we also pulled a strainer out. There's like an egg crate strainer, and that thing was plugged up. Like so badly. So we cleaned that off and put it back in.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, sludgy. Then once we checked everything on the roof, on those 2 cooling towers, we also went into their boiler room just to make sure there was nothing going on in there. And again, everything looked just normal. What I enjoyed though, there was a pigeon trapped in the boiler room. It's just like hanging out, and so the maintenance guy there is like trying to wave it out. He's like, "I've got the door open for you, just fly out." And this pigeon is just going further and further and further into the boiler room, just like I can just see it thinking like, "Heh, suckers." Yeah. I don't know if you remember, a few weeks ago we looked at a printing machine that had a little flow switch that was faulty. It's like a little paddle switch, and how it works is it's basically like a proving switch. So once there's flow, it's got this little metal thing, and the little metal thing will touch another little metal thing. So technical. Yes, we're just very technical here. And that will make a connection, and then it'll send a signal to the next part of the sequence. They finally got that part in. They have to order it from Germany or something, like directly. So that finally came in, so we replaced that. And interestingly enough, when we put the new one in, well, actually when we compared the new one to the old one, we noticed that there's like a little square or like a little rectangle paddle at the very end of that rod snapped off. And where could it be? Somewhere in the system. So that'll be interesting. I did have a solo day this week. I cleaned 2 ice machines at a nearby hotel, which was kind of annoying because they asked me to come after 11 a.m., which is fine. I spent the morning in the office getting a bunch of admin stuff done, paying some bills and all that stuff, and then I went off and did my job. Now, these 2 ice machines are the kinds that have dispenser bins. So instead of being able to just scoop out the ice, I literally have to sit there and hold the button while the ice falls out of the machine, and that takes longer than doing the actual job. But my brother came up with this really genius idea, because usually I'll have like a small bucket and I'll just hold it there and I'll dump it into a larger bucket. But Trevor had this fantastic idea of using a piece of line set cover, which basically looks like a gutter. And I chopped it to size when I was there and put it into the little dispenser feeder and put the other side in my tote bin and just sat there and held the button. I think even next time I might take a piece of tape and tape over that button, but it needs to be supervised. I was like, well, I can just do that because there's two machines. There's one upstairs and one downstairs. I was like, maybe while I'm cleaning the downstairs one, I could already have the upstairs one, like, but it needs to be supervised. I can't just let it go. Because I'll be honest with you guys, I try to like do some stuff on my phone while I was just like, I put my elbow against the button and I was like doing stuff on my phone and I was distracted for a minute and I looked down and I was like, how did I make all this mess? So I had to clean up a little bit of ice mess, little bit. But, so anyway, so I can't just let it go. So I collected all of the ice in a large tote. I had that tote on top of a little dolly, which I just wheeled outside and dumped the ice out in the parking lot outside in the pouring rain. And of course I used my favorite ice cleaning product, New Calgon. It is nickel safe, which means that, well, a lot of these ice machines, they've got nickel plated evaporators where the ice cubes are actually formed. And this cleaner is particularly safe for nickel surfaces. The ice machine upstairs is in a really unfortunate place. They've got this little alcove that literally fits the ice machine only. And it's pretty much shoved to the back. And so the guy was like, you know, sometimes in summertime it overheats. I'm like, well, yeah, there's no airflow in there. He's actually attached a little fan, like just like a desk fan kind of thing. And he's connected it to the wall and it's facing downwards. But apparently the fan burnt out. And he's just like, oh yeah, I haven't replaced the fan. I'm like, well, you need to deal with that. So in personal or like HVAC Jess news, I'm very excited to share that I have started working with a new workwear brand this week, and it's called the Dirty Seahorse. It's a strange name, but they're doing some really good stuff. They sent me their first product, which are these overalls. You can't really see them here sitting down, but I did take a little video for you this morning. So check out my new overalls. They're by the Dirty Seahorse, and they're called Zenith. And here they are. They've got these stretchy shoulder straps, which I love, love, love. And they've got built-in knee pads, which I love as well. And I'm just giving these guys a try this week. So far, so good. So the Dirty Seahorse, they reached out to me like 2 or 3 years ago. And they were like, hey, if we send you this really long survey, like this questionnaire about workwear, we'll send you a gift. And they did. They sent me a really cool thing. And I filled out their survey and it was everything that I was looking for in workwear as a woman. Like, what was I looking for? And they took all of those surveys and they made their first product. And they've got just the coolest stuff. Like these overalls, they've thought about everything. I've tried on various pairs of overalls, either ones that have been sent to me or just in the store, and none of them had these stretchy elastic shoulder straps. So every time I put them on, I would move around and I could feel my movements everywhere, and I felt like stuck or stiff in them. I felt trapped. So I would never consider wearing them for work because I need to do so many different kinds of maneuvers and I just cannot be hindered by my clothes. And so the straps, first of all, just give me so much movement, but also there's a bit of elasticity in the fabric of these. So so far I can move around really great. They've got built-in knee pads, which is incredible for me. I have this pad in my truck. Actually, is it here? Here. I have this pad in my truck, which I very rarely use because I leave it in the truck. So often I'll be doing a job and I'll be like, oh, I wish I had my pad, but I never go and get it. So now I've got built-in knee pads, which I freaking love. And I think it's really gonna save me. So there you go. Also this week, I posted a little video about those temperature thermistors that I took out of that Fujitsu unit last week. Showed you kind of how NTC thermistors work. For testing purposes, I'm gonna put it in my warm hand. And it goes back down. The higher the temperature, the lower the resistance. And what I didn't mention in that video was the little needle point leads that I was using were actually from the Jumper King kit that I got, which I will show you right now. It's a product made by Supco Tradefox. And it's the Jumper King, which is a system that helps you test low voltage systems like really safely. It comes with this little device which you hook up to your thermostat, and then you can turn on and off like in a very safe manner. But what I did was I stole, it comes with these little leads, crocodile clips, and these little piercing leads, which is what I used in my video. So basically, these allow you to pierce thermostat cables if you need to, as opposed to like pulling away a little piece of it to expose it. You don't have to do that anymore. You can just pierce it and still get a reading. But I took that end bit off, and that's the needle. I call it needle nose, but it's in like a needle point lead. So I just wanted to shout out the Jumper King because that's where I got my needle point leads from. And I don't want that to be a secret. In this kit also, so there's the crocodile clips, the piercing clips, and also magnetic ones. It comes with a little bag of connector lead thingies to go into your multimeter and into this device. And that's the Jumper King. Well, guys, that's all I've got for you this week. Thank you so much for joining me on this episode of the HVAC Diaries HVAC vlog. Hey, did you know that there's an actual diary for the HVAC Diaries? I've never showed you. I think I should show it to you every week. All done for another week. This is my HVAC diary. Thanks for watching. See you next week.